Disclaimer: this commentary is unreliable. I do not play the games I commentate on beforehand, so if you're using this as a genuine guide, take my words with a grain of salt and proceed at your own risk. Thank you!
Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between, welcome to another episode of Unreliable Commentaries, the series where I give my commentary on towers that I've never played before, to make it sound like that I have played it before. My name's Simon Epic, and long time no see. It's been a long time since my last episode. I think it's I uploaded the first episode in January of this year. It was the 1st of January this year, and it's been 7 months since then. So yeah, I'm finally getting around to making another episode. Because I didn't want to make it like one of those other series where there's just one episode and I'm like, I promise you guys, I promise I'll make more episodes, and then I end up not making any episodes. So I didn't want it to really turn out like that, so that's why I'm making this video. Anyways, the tower we're going to be doing is Tower of Laptop Splitting. This is this episode is a bit special because I was planning on playing mainly towers in EToH, but I figured I've been trying to beat this tower and I've struggled quite a bit, so I figured, hey, perfect tower to make a video on. So this is also special because it's actually a monthly tower. So after the month's over, the tower won't be in the game. It'll be in a different area for all the monthly towers. But anyways, to find this, you just gotta go to the tower section and it'll head over here. This is the intermediate tower section. So it's not here still. It's actually in the advanced tower section. Get this little speed boost, and then right around the corner, it's right here. Tower of Laptop Snapping by the Burbs Word. Did I say laptop splitting? I meant laptop snapping. It's similar to Citadel of Laptop Splitting, which if you know, you know. Anyways, let's get into this. Now we have the first floor, and similar to Citadel of Laptop Splitting, it's not that long. It just consists of a lot of spinners, except this one has a lot more spinners than the Citadel. So you gotta. The way I like to do spinners is I like to stay standing on them, and then I like to walk on as close to the edge as possible until the other spinners take me. So then once you do that, go on this truss, and then you go on this spinner. This one's a bit more tricky because the spinners are a bit further out. So what I like to do is I like to go sideways and then wait until I get on this spinner, and then the other one should be easy. You just have to walk near the edge. Now you have to jump onto that wedge, like so, because this one has a truss. All the other wedges don't have trusses on them, so this is the only one, and this is the one you have to jump to. Let me just check to see that everything is working fine. I always like to check when I'm recording. Anyways, you jump over here, you do this little wraparound, have to go up here, then you do some more wraparounds. And if you've played Citadel of Laptop Splitting, you would definitely notice that this tower is very similar. Basically, this is a shorter and a harder version of Laptop Splitting, Citadel of Laptop Splitting, meaning that, well, there's quite a few those aren't, wow, guys. You can tell I haven't played this tower that much because that's not what you're supposed to do, and I'm gonna have to do one of these. Alrighty, I'm back up here. It honestly didn't take that long, but I felt like doing that anyways. I don't like to waste your time. Anyways, so don't do what I did before and make sure to wrap onto this platform instead of this imaginary platform that only exists in my head. Anyways, go over here. By the way, I should probably mention you're gonna hear a lot of the keyboard noises. So if that bothers you, I apologize. That's just how my keyboard is. Anyways, you go on that X pusher. You do these jumps. These are conveyors. So the way I like to do them, I like to jump onto the conveyors so that I can easily time. This section's for later. Don't mind that right now. Do this more conveyors, and then you press this button, which means you get a little bit of button progress. So if you fall past here, you can just go up here, which is nice. You don't have to do that section again. Anyways, we're on to floor 3 now, except the music's the same, which is quite a common theme with towers nowadays. But anyways, you go on that side, you do this ladder flick, jump over here. Now, here are some tight ropes. Make sure not to stand on the transparent parts, although they're technically translucent, but people call them transparent. Make sure not to stand on the transparent tight ropes because those, you will fall through those. So you have to jump on the solid ones. Then you got some rope platforms, easy stuff. Got some more wraparounds. Jump on this platform. And then you have these slanted platforms. Make sure to jump on the peak of them so that the jump's easier. Have this wonky wraparound. It's funny because there's a slanted part. Then you have this slant. Oh, yeah. I don't like those slanted head hitters because I'm not very good at them. So looks like this is the second time I have to do this in this video. So here we go. Alrighty, I'm back up here. This time I'm gonna not mess up the jump. Yeah, there we go. That's how I usually like to do it because if you stand sideways like that, it's very easy to slip off to slide down the slope a bit. So I don't like to do that. Anyways, jump out here. This is an X pusher momentum jump, so you go back here and then you jump when you reach the platform again. It looks harder than it actually is, so don't worry too much about it. Then you have this section. I didn't mean to walk off right then and there. You have the section where you have to push this door and then you jump onto it to get to the next platform, which I honestly really like. I enjoy that part. Then you go over here, and fun fact, this is once again this is related to Citadel of Laptop Splitting, but instead of a spinner being here, you have these platforms, and these platforms will show up quite a bit later on, so keep that in mind. Then you go over here. You can actually jump up here, just skip a bit, and then you're onto this floor. Actually, that's not a skip. That's just the intended route. Never mind. Now you have this floor. Another fact is that this tower has similar songs to Citadel of Laptop Splitting, except they're like remixes or like different, maybe like different songs from the same soundtrack. Like for example, this is a song from Sonic Mania, which is a fan game of Sonic, Sonic fan game, but in the original Citadel of Laptop Splitting, the original song is from one of the actual Sonic games. So I thought that was interesting to know. Anyways, I didn't really explain this. I apologize, but this is a turret section, so you have to be careful to dodge the turrets, or you have to do this section as quickly as possible to avoid taking as much damage. So you just have to do a little wraparound there, and then you have this wraparound. I'm gonna try doing this quickly because I've been playing this tower a lot, and I'm kind of sick of it at this point. But yeah, but if you want, you can take your time with this part. It's really based on your preference. Then you break through this wall, and then you go on these conveyors. This one's a bit slower, so make sure to jump on it like this, and then you do this jump. Then you have some rope platforms. You can avoid the kill bricks if you want, and then you go on the zip line. And then this part is a bit strange. Basically, what you have to do is you have to face backwards, and you have to go in this X pusher so that you can do these jumps. Well, that's just for the first one, but for this next one, you have to go here, and it's a good idea to get a sense of where the platform you have to jump to is, so that you can make the jump. And then for this one, you do the same thing, except you kind of just have to like do that. I kind of wish I had a keyboard overlay, but actually, let me see if I can figure that out. Alright, I'm back. Unfortunately, I couldn't figure out how to get the keyboard overlay showing up on a whim. However, there is a thing I can download to make that show up. So I'll probably set that up later on, but for now, you're just gonna have to deal with no keyboard overlay. Anyways, you do this wraparound to go on this X pusher. And this jump is a bit of a wonky jump, so it's understandable if you fail there. Have I failed that? No, I don't think I failed it before. But it's still awkward. Anyways, you jump up there, do a head hitter. Then there's this moving platform. Oh, yeah, watch out because it might bonk you on its way over there if you don't jump immediately. You go on the moving platform. And then make sure to stand on the right side while facing this way. Make sure to stand on this side of the platform because you're gonna get shoved forward a bit. So you want to make sure that you don't get shoved off the platform. Then you do these little jumps. This is a falling platform, so make sure what you have to do is you have to jump onto the truss before the platform falls, like that. And then what you have to do is you have to do a little truss flick to jump back on the platform and then land on this platform. Then you have a bit of these walled platforms and stuff. Then there's this spinner section where you have to do a double timing, where you have to jump from this walled platform to that one. So make sure you get the timing right. Then I like to do a bit of a long jump here onto this truss. And then make sure you do this wrap on this side, because on this side there is nothing, so you will fall and die. You won't actually die, but you'll fall. It'll be a long fall. Anyways, now we have this floor, which, like Citadel of Laptop Splitting, is a button floor, so you have to get all of the buttons before progressing. Now, if you know Citadel of Laptop Splitting well, you know that in that Citadel, you only have to get some of the buttons, because you can just do a little skip and skip some of the buttons. However, for this one, for this tower, you have to get all of the buttons. There is no skipping that. So here's the order you should do it. You should get that red button first, and then you have to go for this orange button. Do this little wraparound, and then you jump down here for the yellow and the green button, I believe. So then you do this head hitter. Then you jump on this side first, because that side leads to the outside section. Then you jump over here. The way I like to do this part is I like to go forward so that I can jump and then I can turn in. I find it's better to do that than doing it sideways, because doing sideways it's hard to thread the needle. Yada yada yada. Then you go over here, do this wraparound, and then go over here. There's this little inside section, which is quite inverted from the original Citadel Laptop Splitting, where the inside section is on that side instead of this side. Ugh, I messed up that jump, but I'm not gonna cut because it really doesn't take that long. There we go. Let's see, I'm back up here. Then you have this little dropper section. So you get the button. Then you jump over here. Jump on here. Yep, you do that. And then you go to the left side here. You jump here. This platform is recessed into the wall, so make sure you're aware of that before doing that jump. And now you're onto the outside section, which is pretty stressful because if you fall, yeah, you have to do all that over again. It's not a big deal right now because this is only the 4th floor of the tower. Wait, is it? No, it's the 5th floor. Sorry. Now something I find nice is that once you go through this wall, this box regenerates, so you don't have to wait before actually jumping onto it. Just a moment. I'm gonna drink some water. Alright, I'm back. I actually also refilled my water bottle, so that's why I took a little bit longer. But anyways, now you jump onto the box, and then it will take you to the first button challenge. I like to do these button challenges in order so that I don't always have to keep going back and forth. Anyways, you do these wraparound sections. This is a bit of a curved section. This is recessed into the wall, so make sure you go into it. Then you get the sign button just in time for the box to come back. If you're doing that section that quickly, then you actually make it just in time for the box to come back, which is nice. Anyways, here's my least favorite part of the outside. This jump. This jump is very awkward because you have to do one of these explosive wraparounds to that platform. So, and let me tell you something. Do not do it on the right side, because if you do it on the right side, you're getting your head bumped and then you're falling all the way down. So what you actually have to do, you have to do this on the left side. Oh, okay. I got past that jump. That's good. If you get past that jump, then the rest is basically free, since you just have to do that. And then, oh, actually, don't do that wraparound. You should just jump immediately to the X pusher, and then you go over here, and then you press the button. And then we have to do a bit of waiting for the box to come back. I don't think I have to pause because it's coming right now. Here we go. And then you go on the box. And then for this part, you have to beat the fast. So, I'd recommend you get a good scope of what this part is like before actually doing it. Because, if you don't manage to do it in time, you get straight up walled. Which means that you can't go back here and do it again. You have to fall all the way down and do all those floors again to get back to here. Which is not very fun, and I hate it. you! Fuck you! Anyways, luckily there are some skips you can do, like you can jump on these one studs and you can climb up there to do a bit of a skip, so that you can actually make it in time. But I'd recommend what you do is, if you don't think you have enough time to make it, go back here, because forfeiting early is better than falling all the way down. So with that being said, it's time to do this section. Do this wraparound. I'll do these one studs, but you can probably do the other section if you're a bit more scared. Then you go on that invisible part. Then you do this low roof part. It's a tight wedge. Then you get the button, and then boom, you did it. So yeah, that's also a pretty stressful part of the outside section, and there's actually a part coming up that's even tighter. So fortunately, you're not out of the woods just yet. But let's not worry about that right now. Now we are on this high jump section. So you have 10 seconds to do this part. So let's do it. You have a wraparound. You have to do this walled platform. You have to do this wraparound, and then you have to jump here and then jump up to the button. And if you touch the ground, then you lose your jump power. So that's why you're not supposed to do that. Then we have to wait for the box again. Where is it? There it is. There it is. The box! And then you come back to the middle, and then you can actually move on to the next section. Or not the next section, the next floor actually. You're actually done with this floor. You just go up this truss. And now we are on to floor 6. So first you have this funny spinner with one studs. You just have to, I actually recommend you jump on this part. Hopefully, I don't think you should fall through the one studs, but yeah, you shouldn't fall through the one studs. You should just be able to like walk and jump across it, as long as you don't stop moving. Anyways, you go up this elevator, you wait for this moving platform, which has a bit of a wonky timing because it doesn't settle immediately. It comes, it slows, and then it goes back right away. So be aware of that when doing this part. Anyways, now you jump here, and then you dodge these kill bricks. You can dodge them or decide not to. Either way, if you don't dodge them, you just take a bit of damage. But it shouldn't kill you, and it shouldn't knock you off. Anyways, you have this flick. Then you go on this X pusher. Make sure to be aware of this spinner, because it'll block you. And you don't want to be blocked. You don't want to be blocked. You don't want to be blocked. Anyways, you go on this slanted thingy. And look at this. Here is a bit of a riddle. Yellow buttons are the key. I sure wonder. You see the yellow button there. You see this X here. What do? You push your way up there. That's how you do that part. Admittedly, it took a bit of figuring out for me to do it, but that's how you do it. And funnily enough, you don't press the button, you get the button as a key. So that's what it meant by yellow buttons are a key. I love that. Anyways, do this wraparound, do another wraparound, go on here. It's a bit of a recession there, just like real life. Then you go on this part, and then you open the door. And now it's time to descend into the catacombs of this tower's basement. So so if you remember that part you saw down in floor 2, this is what it's about. So you go down here and you get a bit of a slow fall, so you don't fall down as fast as in Citadel of Laptop Splitting. But first we have to take a little detour. So you go down here, and despite how intimidating it is, you actually do need to press this button. It is important for progression, and you'll see what it is actually used for later on. So don't take this as like a don't take this as a tower trying to trick you. You actually do need it. And I'm really bad at the game, so I forgot that is a falling platform. So what you actually have to do is you have to wait for the spinner and then jump across like that. Now it's time for a speed section. So to wait for the spinner, and then you jump over here, dodge these kill bricks, and then here is why you have to press that button, because it activates this X pusher. And you might be wondering, why do you need a button to press anyways? What's the point of that? Well, it's another reference to Citadel of Laptop Splitting. For whatever reason, there is a button that you have to press at the beginning of the floor, which is just so strange. Anyways, actually, I think the reason why is because you can actually drop down. No, never mind. It's not making sense. Anyways, you have to go on the X pusher, you have to dodge those kill breaks, and you have to jump on these rope platforms, which for some reason this one's a bit jittery, so I don't know why. Anyways, you jump across those kill breaks. I don't know if you fall through these kill breaks. You don't fall through them, so you don't have to worry too much about jumping on the platform there. Anyways, you go here, and then you lose your speed, so you're back at normal running or walking speed or speed. Jump over here, go on this ladder, and then watch out for this kill break shover. Make sure you go when it's on this wall, because if you try to go when it's between that, then excuse me, then you get crushed. So yeah, just wait for it, and then boom. Then you get the brown button, and congratulations, you the man. According to this tower, you're the man. Anyways, you go up here. That's like a jump boost. So, well, not really. It's an elevator. So you get taken back up here. Then you have a bit more of the dropper. So you go down here, you go over here, and then you have to go in the middle, and then you have to go between these one studs, and then you fall down to the basement. Now we're thinking with basements. So there's actually a secret route you can take where you jump across those like transparent studs, so you to do a bit of a harder but shorter version. But I'm gonna take the normal route because this is probably at your skill. If you're at the skill level to beat this tower, this is probably the route that you want to take. Anyways, go on these hole in the walls, more hole in the walls. Except you have to walk through this one, and then you can move on to the second floor of the basement. So where you go over here. Ugh, I fell off. And then you go over here, go on this X pusher, go on this truss. Except I ended up falling, so that was kind of a wacky whack. Let's go back here. There we go. Now you go on the truss, do a truss flick, jump onto this platform, go across here. This is a tightrope. Make sure to get used to these because they're going to show up in quite evil ways later on, honestly. Then you get this button, and that button is important for later, as all the buttons in this tower are. Anyways, you go over here, go on that one stud, and then go on this slanted platform, some more slant. Then go down here, and then you have the world's hardest game. You have to avoid this kill brick, which is a kill brick shover. So you have to go in this hole in the wall, and then you can just continue with the rest. You don't have to go in the second one. And now we are in the backyard. So for this part, I like to wait for the kill brick spinner to spin past this point. Then I jump on this spinner, go on this platforms, do this wraparound platforms. Wait until the spinner is ahead so you can do these falling platforms. This is a wobbly platform, so be aware of that. Then you do some more wraparounds, do that, and then you can move on to the elevator. Now this part is honestly really sophisticated, and I am quite impressed with it. Honestly, with me being a tower builder and all, like I could have never come up with this part. And as you can see here, it explains it. While it may have seemed like this elevator raised itself up to this floor while the door is closed, what actually happened is that you got teleported to an identical model of the elevator. The more you know. And honestly, I'm just so enamored by that. Like, I could, in my 4 years of tower building, I could have never come up with something like that. So, congratulations, the creator of this tower. And now it says here, spinning corner clips and spinning dance clips were a bit too hard for this section. So here's some spinning wedge climb glitches. By the way, oh, I forgot to read one of the signs in the previous floors. For one of the floors, I think it was floor 5, smooth platforms, you fall through those, so don't go on those. You have to go on the studded platforms, which are platforms that look like this. Anyways, now we are inside the spinner floor. This is actually, I actually don't remember what floor number this is, but whatever. You have to do this timed button section. So you have 10 seconds, and then you have to go in this balloon. You have to go up here, and then you can just press space to dismount. Then you go across here, do these jumps. Then you go on this spinner, and then this is a no jump section. So here I'm pressing space, but I'm not able to jump. Go over here, then go down here, go up here, and this is another time section. So I recommend doing this in the first person. Climb up this ladder, do this drop down, climb up this other ladder, which is a bit janky, but just make sure you hold W at that part and not D or A, because holding any other key other than W will make you fall off. And now it's time for this part. This is the first stressful part of the tower. I don't know if there are any more, but this is, if there are, then this is the first one that you come across. So basically, this right here, this line, if you know codes, you already know what this is about, but this is the button deactivator. So whenever you go across this line, it deactivates all the buttons that you've pressed in the tower. So I go across it, and as you can see, you see that button? It got deactivated. So yeah, if you fall, you're gonna have to do everything all over again. No more button progress. No skipping sections. You have to do it all over again. And that's especially important for this part because you have 2 minutes to complete this section. If the timer falls to 0, your run is over. Good luck. And unlike Coles, this isn't a section where, oh, if you fall, you can just come back here and you press the button again. No, if you fall, you're falling all the way down. You get teleported to an entirely different section out in the space, and you can't come back to this button once you press it. So you gotta really prepare yourself before doing this part. That being said, the timer isn't too tight. I've made it past this part with a minute to spare, so don't go too fast, but don't go too slow either. Just take your time. Take as much time as you need to get this section done. With that being said, now it's time to do it. So you have this wraparound. I'd recommend jumping up to there. Have these platforms. These are some flicks, and then you do that jump. Do this little head hitter. Then you have this part. Do another head hitter. Then you have this wraparound. Now this part is a bit tricky because this is a tightrope jump. So what you have to do is you have to line up here, and then what I do is I like to jump there and align it with my cursor. So you do that. Then some more head hitters. I like to properly set them up because this is a much more dangerous section to do them on. Then you have these jumps. By the way, I should mention, once you get past the tightrope, this part is pretty free. You don't have to worry too much about jumps. You just have to get it done in the time section, in the time allotted. Then you have these jumps, and as you can see, I made it with 70 seconds left. So really, it's not too tight. You just have to make sure you don't fall at that part. Anyways, now we are on whatever floor number this is. I think this is floor 8. Because there's 2 more floors after this. So I'm gonna guess this is floor 8. So what you have to do that ladder. Then you go on this zip line. By the way, it's probably worth mentioning, if you fall, you have to do that section again. There is no button progress for that. So unfortunately, that's just how it is. So just please try not to fall. Now on this part, this is a tightrope jump, so I'd recommend doing it without like shift lock or first person, because at least if you slip, you can try to recover yourself without it being much of a hassle. Then you do that wraparound, and then you go across these 1 studs. Pretty simple stuff. Then you go on these ladders, and I'll be right back. I'm gonna take a bit of a break. Alrighty, I'm back. I just took a pretty lengthy break. I decided to actually eat something because I have been hungry for the past little while. But now I'm back and I'm ready to rumble. Anyways, now we have this section. This is another button section where you have to hop on this box. Then it takes you over to the 3 challenges. Now, make sure when you're getting off here, you actually get off instead of waiting for the box to go another cycle, because these 3 walls will block you if you stay on the box, so make sure not to do that. Anyways, now we have the 3 challenges. Once again, I like to do them in order so that I don't have to keep going back and forth. So the first challenge is spot the difference. You go over here, you climb this ladder, and now here it says, watch out for anything that seems out of place. What that means is if you see any parts that are see-through like this one, that means that you go through them. So you go to this one, you have to jump over this one because that one's see-through. For this part, you have to jump exactly in the middle because there is a one stud pole there that is solid. For this here, you have to jump in that hole in the wall, and then for this part, you have to go to this hole in the wall, and then you get the button. Now, contrary to what those who have played Citadel of Laptop Splitting might believe, you can actually go on the kill brick floor, and then you can just go to this section, because the kill bricks actually don't deactivate any buttons, which is nice. Anyways, for this part, you actually have to go through this hole in the wall, and then skip that first hole, just jump to the second one. And then you have to do this wraparound, then you go on this ladder, do a little head hitter, because there's some transparent parts there. And then you have this kill brick splitter. Make sure you go on the right side, because the left side is also fake, so yeah, you'll just fall through the poles there. And then you got the button. And now we are done with the first challenge. Now you have to go through this part. You have to do a couple wraparounds. Now it's time for challenge 2, speed booster that doesn't work. What it means is that it doesn't speed you up, it actually slows you down. So you have to do this section while you're pretty slow, which means you have to do quite a bit of long jumps, like that. So then you do that wraparound, go on this truss, you come over here, and then you go up here, and then you do this little head hitter, and then there's this little jump, then you do this wraparound. I'd like to do a long jump for this one, so then you make it. And then for this truss, what I'd like to do is I go around it, of course, but then when I jump off, instead of actually doing a truss flick, I like to just jump off like that, just regularly jump off, because that means I can actually get enough distance to make the jump. So then, once you do that, you get the button, and then you can move on to this third challenge. You do these wraparounds, do another one, and now it's time for challenge 3. Be the faster. So this is a challenge where it's actually faster than the other one, but I think it's also shorter as well. And this time there are no skips you can do, so you actually have to do the whole section pretty quickly. So yeah, let's do this. So you have 20, actually no, I should probably wait. You have 20 seconds to do this whole part. You don't have to go too fast at this part, but you have to do it pretty quickly. You shouldn't be doing it. You shouldn't be taking too much time. Of course, you can take your time to actually analyze the jumps and do them, but don't take too much time. So with that in mind, let's do it. Do this wraparound, go up here, go like that, jump across the spinner, go on this wedge, then you do that head hitter, then you jump here, do this wraparound, then you press the button, and then you get out of there. And with that, you've done the 3 challenges. By the way, this is the same situation as the first time button. If you don't make it, then you have to fall down. There's no other way out of it, unless you do some strange glitch, which I'm unknown of. Anyways, now it's time to get back on the box and move on to the next section. However, this jump is a bit weird, because if you try to jump from here, you're not going to make the jump. So what you actually have to do is, let me wait for the box to come back. You have to jump on the rim of the box, like this, and then you can jump to the ladder. And now it's time for this button. So the purpose of that button is for the dropper that's ahead. So you have to do these jumps, make sure not to fail, because this is an outside section. You will fall very far down if you do this part. And now it's dropper time. Don't try skipping anything. It won't end well for you. Yeah, unlike Citadel of Laptop Splitting, if you try to skip stuff, the creators are more aware of that. So you can't skip to like a further floor anymore when you take the balloon, which is an upcoming section of the tower. Anyways, you go down here, and then you get this button, which I'm pretty sure is just an anti-cheat measure. And now you're at the second dropper. So back at floor 1, honestly, except you're in this part. So you go across this spinner. I actually would recommend just jump, if you're here, just jump straight to here instead of the middle. I don't know why I've been doing that. I'm gonna take a break. I'll be right back. Alrighty, I'm back. The reason why I take breaks like that is because talking a lot in these videos can be very tiring for me, so I like to take breaks like that. Anyways, you do this wrap around, then you do this jump. This is a spinner jump, so you have to wait for the spinners to come by. Then you can jump on this one, and then you have to jump on the wall because there's a platform you have to land on. Now, don't jump on this kill brick tightrope because that you fall through that. You actually have to jump on this transparent one stud. So make sure to be aware of that when doing that part. Then you do this part. Now, I'd recommend jumping out like that because if you jump like while you're still like pushing on the X pusher, then you can actually get pushed far back and then you won't make the jump, which has happened to me before, which is why I did that. There we go. What? Excuse me? Excuse me? I just spit on myself. Ugh. What the hell? Now, I actually don't know if you can make this as like a regular jump, so what I like to do a ledge grab. So then yeah, that's how you do it. Well, I'll explain it. Basically, what you have to do is you have to go in, I like to go in first person, and you do it you stick out sideways like this, and then well, don't do it like that. You're actually not supposed to do it that far, but you have to, let me try again. You have to go around this far, and then you turn your camera like that, and then you can jump off. So, but because of that, I have to do this section again, so, whoops. Alrighty, I'm back here. Now you have to do this part, where you have to dodge the kill bricks. So you dodge that kill brick spinner. These are moving kill bricks, so you have to make sure to go through them when they're not in the way. These are kill brick crushers, so I avoid those. These are the kill brick alternating spinners, so you have to go over here, jump here, and go over here, and then jump. That's the pattern I like to follow for those types of parts. Then you go on this ladder, then you go on this other ladder, and then for this you climb up the ladder. I said ladder 3 times, but luckily there aren't any more ladders at this part. So now you go on this balloon, and here's what for those who have played Citadel of Laptop Splitting, here's what I was talking about. Notice how there's a speed timer here. That means you can't move a wall at all. I'm trying to move, and I'm not moving. That means you can't skip any part. You have to do this legit. Anyways, you just have to wait and land on the top here. And now we are on to floor 9, I believe. So go up here, then you jump over here, go up here. I like to skip this platform, but if you're not comfortable with that, you can jump down there instead. You do this wrap around, and you do another wrap around, and then final one studs until you get to the safety net. Now, admittedly, it's a bit dark, so I wouldn't blame you if you decide to turn up your brightness. However, there actually might be a glitch where you can nah, it's weird because it actually happened to me once where I skipped past the lighting changer, so I was able to see properly. But normally this is how it's gonna be. So you go over here, you go under this part, then you have this spinner, and yeah, I should reiterate, there is a safety net, so you don't have to worry that much about falling. Then you have this X, you got the X, and then I actually recommend jumping up here so you can actually get a better look of the section ahead, which is a falling platform section. So jump, jump, jump. There's a little wrap around here that you have to do on the last one. Then you go on this X pusher, at least to this shadow section, so make sure to... So there's some on the bottom here. You might walk here and think, oh, why can't I go here? There's actually shadows on the top, so you have to split fit through those. Be aware of these ones that are on the wall and on the bottom. You just gotta use your brain there. And then this is a corner flip. So you have to, if you're on mobile, you have to tap the center of your screen. If you're on computer, you have to press F. I don't know what button you have to press if you're on console, but that's for how you do it on PC and on mobile. So then you have to fit this in this annoying 2 stud. You just kind of have to keep trying until you get it right. And now you go on this at this part. Just ignore that. That's W place. I've had that open. And then you teleport out here. Now this part is really scary, and I have actually failed this part before, and I have fallen all the way down. you have to go on this momentum. This is a momentum jump. You have to go on this X pusher, and it will launch you up. And you have to move out of the way and land on top of here. Yes, it is really scary, and yes, if you mess this up, you're falling very far down. You're falling back to floor 5. So, and because of the button deactivators, you have to do all the button challenges again. So that wasn't very fun when I had to do that, because I actually did mess this up before. Oh god, is that it? No! No! Are you kidding me? Oh, you got me. No! Really? What I like to do, I like to go on it to like get a sense of when it happens. So it goes around where the kill brick is. So that gives you a sense of when you have to move out. So you go down here, and then you do it like that. Now once you get past that, that's the first tough section. That's the first stressful part of this floor. Now you can just go across here. There's some kill bricks. There's another X pusher, which leads to another outside section. So this is another speed section. So you have to go across here. Then you go on this spinner. You have to wrap around here, so you have to do it like that. Now, this part, this really tripped me up when I got here first. Whatever you do not go on this tightrope immediately. This is a button activated tightrope, which means if you go on it before pressing the button, you're gonna fall through it, and you're falling all the way down. You're either gonna fall all the way down here, or you're gonna fall all the way down to the very beginning. So please don't do that. Please go on this thrust instead, because this is the section that actually leads to the button that you need to press in order to get past this tightrope. The reason why I'm super insistent about that is because I actually ended up messing up here before, because I had no idea this was a button activated part. But once you get past that, you have this part, which once again is pretty stressful, because if you fall here, you're falling back to floor 8 or floor 7, depending on what happens. And then if you fall on floor 7, you have to do that part again. If you fall on floor 8 again, you have to do this dropper again. So just please be careful. And this is actually a new section for me, because this is the first time I've gone here. So now, try approaching this at a different angle. As you can see, this is a glass platform. And what this means is you actually have to look at this at different angles in order to figure out where everything is. Basically what happens is this glass platform, it makes transparent parts completely invisible, which means that you have to look down in order to do this part. So anyways, do that. Once again, being really careful. I actually would recommend using alignment keys, because this part is really stressful if this is your first time here. Do this jump, and then do this part. Another jump, this one is especially scary because it's a one stud jump. So, but you do that, and then you go over here. Then you walk across here. I really hope there aren't any like trolls. But then once you do that, you've done it. You've done that part, and now it's time for this part. Now I don't actually know what these coverage do, but if you've played Citadel of Laptop Splitting, you would be pretty familiar with this section, because what these are supposed to do is they're supposed to teleport you to a previous section of the tower, which means you lose quite a lot of progress if you touch them. So make sure you know how to do these parts before actually doing it. Well, that would involve practice. If you're at this skill level, I'd highly recommend practicing this tower, because there are a lot of sections where you're not going to get it done on your first try. So do that. This part actually isn't that difficult. You just have to press the button, and then you have to do this time section. You have 20 seconds to do this. So luckily it's not too lenient. It's not too tight. Actually, that reminds me of a mistake I made. I said that the timer wasn't oh, it's actually in a video I haven't released yet. I don't know when I'll release it, or if I'll release it at all, but whatever, we're doing this tower. You have this kill brick spinner, and then this is a wobbly, oh, it's not a wobbly platform, I thought it was. And then you go at these conveyors, and then you have to do this spinner jump, like so. And now, you're on the final floor. Holy moly. wow, you made it to the final floor. Thankfully, your computer isn't split in two at this point. Just a couple more obstacles left. So yeah, you have to do this part. These are memory platforms, which let me just make sure it's not. Okay, yeah, these are memory platforms, which means they'll show up every once in a while. So you have to do it a bit by memory. You have to see when they show up. You see when they show up, and then they go invisible. But you can still stand on them. It's just that they're harder to see when they're invisible. So make sure you take our time on this part, because you do not. Trust me on this one. You do not want to fall after doing all of that. Anyways, this one is on the wall, so you can actually go on the wall. Go on the tippy top of it. Go on this one. Then you get this button. And I believe this is a backtrack. This lets you backtrack, which is nice. You go back here. And then you go up on this ladder. And then you do this jump. And then, oh boy, this jump. This used to be an absolute nightmare in Citadel of Laptop Splitting, because the way you originally had to do it is there was originally a ladder on the other side of this wall, so you had to do a quite admittedly precise jump. But luckily, you just have to do that. You just have to wrap around it. That's it. There's no ladder you have to climb. No special wrap around you have to do. You just wrap around this wall. It's still a bit tight, and it's still admittedly pretty difficult, but it should be easier. Then you go on this X pusher, you dodge these kill bricks, and then you do another one of these jumps, and then you go in here. There's another X pusher, which takes you up here, so you go there. Then you go over here. There's a ladder, which then you can use to go on this platform. I'm actually going to turn up my brightness because it's admittedly pretty hard to see this part. Alright, now I can see properly. You go up here, then you go on this platform, and then, oh boy. Okay, please don't jump out, because there is, this ceiling is extended out, which means it's really difficult to jump out. What I recommend doing is I recommend climbing like that. These are walkarounds, except they're a bit special walkarounds because normally they're upright. These ones are a bit more lenient because you can just do that. And then, yeah, it's much easier, so you don't have to worry too much about that. You just gotta follow my moves to know how to do it. Do that wraparound, jump here, so there's a pole section, land here. Then there's this jump. This jump is looking very scary, but actually not really. You just have to like, you have to do that. You have to make sure that you're standing like that, like on this section, and then make sure you jump back so that you don't fall off, and then you do the jump. It requires quite a bit of alignment, so just keep your guard high. Then do these. I think these are the last few jumps of the tower, honestly. So then, well, actually no, you have to do this dropper. There's another dropper here. So yeah, this is just the first section. The elevator below will slowly bring you down to the platform. Be wary of the kill bricks on the way down, and be warned that touching the red floor below will send you back to floor 8. So yes, please be careful. Make sure to land on that platform in the middle, because if you don't, then you're going back to floor 8. So yeah, this is just like Citadel of Laptop Splitting, except the spinners are a bit more scarier, so you have to be careful. Anyways, you spin around here, you go around here, you go around these spinners, and then you go across here, and then you make your way down here. And from my guesses, this is the very last section of the tower. So if you fall here, that's just really unfortunate. Anyways, jump on these walls, do this wraparound, go up here. This ball has a kill brick spinner, but I wouldn't really concern too much about that. Then you go up here. I believe none of these are tricks. Oh boy, this part is evil. You have to fit in these 2 stud gaps while you're against the wall. So, oh my god, oh my god, I almost messed up. Okay, okay, that's the first one. Okay, there's actually only one, but yeah, that's really evil because that's a very claustrophobic section. So you have to especially have to pay attention for that part. And then once you do that, you're at this jump. Oh my god. Wow. Nice job reaching the top. I'm surprised your mental state is still intact at this point. You definitely deserve that win. Now, if you've played Citadel of Laptop Splitting, you know what's up. You know what's up. Because the very last sub of this tower is a 9-stud wrap. This, I imagine, at your stage, if you're being at the intense level, this is gonna be a pretty difficult wrap. Instead of Laptop Splitting, this is I believe an 11-stud jump. So yeah, you gotta treat this with special care. So set it up like this, do the wrap, and there you have it. Yes! Oh my god! There we go. Now, you're probably as excited as I am, because that tower is a very tricky tower. I don't know how high up it is on the intense difficulty chart, but I imagine it's pretty high up. This is a tower that took me quite a few tries to beat, and I'm finally glad I did it. And all that for a monthly tower. Yeah. I'm not usually that enthusiastic about these things. It's just... This guy's especially, this guy's pretty enthusiastic about it too. But anyways, yes, that's a tower. What are my thoughts? I honestly really like this tower. It's a nice spin on a tower that already exists, which is Citadel of Laptop Splitting, which I've mentioned many times already. Although I will say there are some parts that I think could use some changing, like, although admittedly it was just in the heat of the moment I mentioned this, but for that part with the button activated tightrope, I would recommend it be like more properly indicated that it's supposed to be button activated, because there are a few transparent parts in the tower, so it's harder for people to I'm gonna say thank you everyone. Anyways, yeah. I'm tired. This tower took a lot out of me. But yeah. That's it. That's the tower. Thank you so much for watching this guide. I don't think I'll be pressing that. If you haven't noticed it, oh yeah, it is pretty empty actually. Anyways, yeah, thank you so much for watching this guide. If you watched it to the end, I appreciate it, and I hope you learned something new if you're attempting this tower. Whether I'll continue to make videos like this, I'm not sure. I hope I will, but depending on what happens, I still probably won't do it that often, because school is gonna be coming up pretty soon. I do have school coming up in September, so I won't really have that much time to make these types of videos, especially my more proper ones, like the 10 years of Roblox video. That one was one that took a long time, so with school, that is definitely gonna take more time. I apologize for the cut. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'm gonna jump off this cliff. Well, it's not really a cliff. I'm gonna jump off this railing. Whee!